Ready for a fun, simple treat for you and the family? Let's get started. Today we're going to be making one of my favorites, gummy bears. But wait, we can't have gummy bears on keto, correct? Not so fast. Today we're going to make something that is super simple and it really only requires 3 simple ingredients. All right, so the ingredients we're going to need, real simple. Today I went down to Walmart and picked up 4 of the sugar-free flavors of Jell-O. It's really all you need. When we make this recipe, keep in mind, I'll put the macros at the end, but 20 calories, absolutely 0 carbs, 3 proteins per, and that's going to give you about 25 gummy bears per serving. You can get the molds in Amazon. I also picked up an additional mold for the gummy worms. Those are just a little bit extra fun. So, all right, to get started, we're going to go with a 1/4 cup of water in the pot. We're going to bring it to a slow boil. Now, one of the things I told you is that this is super simple. We're going to go with 2 simple ingredients. I'm going to start off with a little bit of the sugar-free orange and just pick you up a packet of unflavored gelatin. That's really about all you need. Bring it down a little bit so we don't burn it out. But that's really all you need. We're going to bring this in and let's get started. Start by putting in our 1 packet of our gelatin, and then we'll put in our 1 packet of orange. Stir this in, and you're going to want to go until everything is fully dissolved. You want to keep on stirring. Okay, now that we've got our Jell-O completely melted, we're simply going to take an eyedropper that we got with our molds, and we're just going to start filling the molds. It's that simple. Okay, so as you can see, the 1 box gave us about 35 gummy bears and gave us an additional 3 of the gummy worms. Now keep in mind what we said a little bit earlier, and we'll put the macros out shortly after this, but for all that we just made, for the 35 or so gummy bears and the worms, you're talking pretty much 0 carbs on any of this stuff. It's a great, fantastic substitute for when you have that sweet tooth, or for when you're just wanting to have something a little bit different like a gummy bear. We're going to go ahead and fill up the rest of these, and once we're done, I'll be right back. As you can see, we're starting to wrap up what we have, and we've made quite the load of gummy bears. This is going to be actually a fantastic treat to have. But I tell you what, so we talked a little bit about what we can do for these and how we can snack. Now it's time for the real talk. Okay, guys, so we've finished our first recipe. We have got some good gummy bears. Now, the part that we're going to talk about here is going to be the real talk about keto. So you're going to see a ton of recipes, and a lot of them are going to sit there and say that they taste just like the real thing. I don't want to break your heart. They don't taste like the real thing. And so many of you noticed it's just gelatin and Jell-O, sugar-free Jell-O. And so many people are going to look at that and say, well, what you basically made is you've made Jell-O shots, or Jell-O bears, or Jell-O gummy bears, or whatever you want to call it, just sugar-free. And you're not wrong. And so this kind of goes into the keto mindset about how you've got to look at your food. A lot of the things you'll see on the keto diet are going to be very similar to some of the foods that you eat, but not exactly the same. And the reason being is that we don't use a lot of the same ingredients that are in a lot of the foods. And I give a really good example. What we made today has literally 0 carbs. You can eat these things until your heart's content. You're talking about 20 calories per serving of about 25. That's an entire handful. And by comparison, I'm going to show you something that I think is very interesting. That right there, when I went to go pick up our gelatin and the Jell-O, sugar-free Jell-O at the store today, I ran across, as I was getting some Himalayan salt, which is another great keto staple, there was a little container of sugar-free gummy bears. And it was kind of unique because that's what we were making today. Now, as part of that, one of the things that we had seen was that a single serving, a single serving is 47 carbs. 47. And out of that, 170 calories and 5 protein, but 47 carbs. If you're really starting to look at it, and this is where the product type and the serving size start to come into play. This container was literally maybe a little bit bigger than a tuna can for some comparison. And it said that in that container there was 9 servings. So I can tell you that before I started keto, I could eat the entire container. Not a problem. It's not that much. It was probably 3 handfuls of gummy bears. Now what they did say on the label was a serving size was 8 gummy bears. So for 8 gummy bears, you got 47 carbs, 5 protein, and 170 calories. And so I look at that and I go, okay, so what am I really getting in real life food? And so what you're really looking at is, if you break it down, you are getting about 211 carbs, 765 calories, and 22 protein. That's what you're going to get if you eat just half of it. And that's really kind of typical of the standard American diet. And so when we start looking at things for keto and you start looking at how you revise the way you think about food, the Jell-O gummy bears make perfect sense. You can have them. They taste pretty similar to gummy bears. Your taste buds are going to change and they're going to acclimate to some different things. But you're going to be able to go in and actually have something that you can take to the movie theaters when they open again. You're going to be able to take them outside. You're going to be able to give them to your kids for snacks. They are sugar-free. And they're just a great alternative for when you really want something for the sweet tooth. So really look at the gummy bears as something that is an alternative to what you used to eat. And that's what's really important about this recipe. It's not that it's a simple 2-ingredient recipe where you're using a little bit of water, some gelatin, and some Jell-O. And that's not what it's really about. What it's really about is revising the way we think and revising the way we eat and how we view food. And so if I can have an option of having 50, I'm talking a big old bowl of gummy bears that taste like it, and I hit and run the refrigerator at sometimes, I'll grab a handful of these things out of a Ziploc bag or container, and I know that I'm only getting 20 calories and 0 carbs. It's perfect. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoy the real talk. It's the honest talk. I'm still fairly new at keto. We've been doing it now for about 5-6 months, and so we're learning every day, and I hope you continue to stick with us, and I hope you do the journey with us. Take care.